Fame, if you win it, comes and goes in a minute. Where's the real stuff in life to cling to? Long.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Boomer Pod podcast, where we interview movie and TV celebrities. Our guest today is stunt performer Robin Bonaccorsi. Welcome, Robin, and thank you for being with us today on Boomer Pod.
Thank you for having me, and you pronounced my name right. I'm impressed.
I'm Italian.
There you go.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah. Let's talk about your career.
All right.
Stunt performing. How did you get started, Robin?
Well, nobody in my family's in the film business. What happened was I was working for Club Med in Haiti, and they were filming a commercial there, and I was fascinated by this process, by these filmmakers. And so every second I had, I would be out there watching them. And then came back to California, was figuring out what to do when I was in my mid-20s, and decided to get in the film business. So I handed out a resume, worked for a producer. This producer hired me. Well, I worked for her for free for a year and learned every single job on the crew, and still couldn't find my niche. And then I was going to go back to Club Med, and my mom said, meditate, honey, you'll figure it out. And so I did, and stunt work popped into my head, and I'm like, well, it actually makes sense. I'd done sports my whole life, every single sport out there, almost. And I was like, oh, well, this makes sense. And then trained with a man in the Bay Area, still a really good friend of mine, and I work with him all the time, Rocky Capella, and then got lucky, knock on wood, and have been working ever since. So got lucky.
That's great. That's great. Another Italian.
That's right. Another one.
Wow.
We're taking over. We're taking over.
Well, tell us about some of your most memorable parts in your TV and movies. Let's start with The Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2.
Okay.
What can you tell me?
It was working for Andy Armstrong, was who hired me on that, and very, very well-known man in this industry. And I can't say I did a lot on that. I was at ND. I did some of the driving scenes. So I was part of the action in the driving scenes. And it was a joy. There was about 20 to 30 stunt performers on that. So that's always fun when you get us all together and work and driving cars and crashing cars and flipping cars. It's always very exciting. So that was one of my favorite projects to work on. Yes. Can't say I did a lot on it, but I was definitely part of it. Yes.
And what was exciting for you about the actual production?
I just like it when there's a lot of us stunt people together. It's camaraderie. We had young people, new people, old people that had been in it longer than I have. And when you get people that know what they're doing too, it's really nice. You know, you don't have to explain a lot. They know what they're doing. There was a lot of really good wheelmen and wheelwomen on this project. So it was just a joy to be on that one. Yeah, and be part of it.
Now let's move on to The Perfect Storm.
Okay. That one truly, I know you're getting all these ones where I didn't do a whole lot on, but that one I did some testing when they did the gimbal on it. So I was part of the testing on that one. When the boat was flipping over and before they actually shot it. So I did a little bit of the testing on that one. Forgot about that one. Yeah.
Yeah. Why don't you tell me about one of the movies that you most remember being a part of as a stunt performer?
Let's see. One of the first ones I ever, I think it's the first one where I doubled the lead, would have been Dusk Till Dawn. It sort of turned into a cult film now, and I doubled Juliette Lewis on that one, and I also was one of the vampires on that one. And that was a very, very fun show to work on. We were vampires dressed in skimpy outfits, but there was dead body parts everywhere. There was people laying on the ground, and I I got to double Juliette Lewis and do a few fun things, fly through the air, a little bit of fight scenes. So that was fun. Another one, The Italian Job, was a really fun one to work on. There was some great driving on that one and some really good people that I worked with. Kurt Bryant hired me on that one, Steve Kelso, Sean. There was a lot of people working on that. There were 3 women drivers and I was one of them. So I was honored to be part of that one. That was fun.
And how about working with George Clooney?
When I worked with him on Dusk Till Dawn, he was, I think, just getting famous. I didn't even know who he was. He was, I think, just doing ER at that time. And he was a very, very nice man. Him and Quentin threw a party every Friday for the whole crew. And he was just out playing basketball with everybody. Just a really nice man. Yeah. So that was nice to meet him before he blew up, That was good.
That role for him was a departure from what he normally does.
Right. Yeah. In a crazy bar scene with vampires, you mean? Yeah.
Amazing. Now
Yeah.
tell me a little bit more about The Italian Job, which I have on my list. Who did you double on that?
It was one of Charlize's doubles. They had 3 women driving, all really good drivers. There was Donna and Susan and me. And we all were needed at different parts, during that driving sequence. So I did my first big jump in that one, but then they used a different driver because they fired the second unit director. A new one got hired, so they reshot some stuff. But very, very fun job driving those little Coopers around LA and in the subway trains and on the sidewalks and trusting the other drivers. We're driving pretty close to them and doing some intricate maneuvers and stuff. So that was very, very fun and very, very challenging. It's always nice when you're challenged a little bit and get to do things. So I was very happy to be a part of that one.
Now, how is it different in stunt performing a car like a Cooper versus a full-size car?
It's pretty much the same. They had those cars loaded up with some really good e-brakes, which is pretty much your it helps when you have a good e-brake to do stunt driving. You can count on it. And when they modify the cars so you're able to use a good e-brake, you can do a lot more and be more precise than just a generic standard one. And so they're great little cars. I highly recommend them. They're heavy and they were great stunt cars. And then, but the bigger, the smaller, a general car works about the same. You can get them to do what you want to do if they're set up right. Yeah.
Now, an e-brake, you're talking about an emergency brake?
Yeah, the new cars are a little bit more difficult. They have to modify them more. They come with, all the electric cars and the cars with the electric brakes and stuff like that. You got to override those and put in your own systems and stuff. But yeah, they make them so we can do tricks with them and stuff, which is nice.
Well, let's move on to another movie.
Okay.
Bandits.
Bandits, that was a fun one. I did some driving for Kate on that one and was hired by Conrad Palmisano, who just passed away, RIP. He was oh, I'm sorry. You know what? That wasn't. Yeah, that was. Bandits was. Oh my God, I'm trying to remember. That was Conrad. And yeah, did some driving on that one too. That was exciting. Yeah, my whole first half of my career was mostly driving. I started out with car commercials and then that led into other things. Also did physical stunts, but a lot of it was driving. And that movie was that was a good one. There was some fun stuff on that one too. So
tell me about the physical stunts.
Physical
What is the
stunts.
most memorable?
God, going back, there was Spy Kids. That was a fun one. Got to do a 200-foot descender on that one, and lots of falls and stuff. And that was for Jeff Dashnaw. We shot that in Austin back in the day. That was fun. The last 4 years I've been was working on it, ended now, Fear the Walking Dead. So played zombie, which they called walkers, on every episode that got killed. And that was fun. You do a lot of falling down, killing, fighting, and that. And that was super fun. All the different prosthetics and makeup, and the makeup people were phenomenal on that. So that was the latest projects for stunts. Yeah, you basically, do anything the actor won't do or can't do or might get hurt at doing. And that's what we do. We fall down for a living.
Are you working on a project right now?
Right now, no, I don't have anything on the books. I got called for a job maybe in a couple weeks, but it's not solidified, so I don't want to talk about it. But there, out of stunt driving, came these auto shows. So I drive a lot of cars on auto shows over the last 20 years. I drive pretty cars on pretty stages and sometimes do some crazy stuff on some auto shows, but there's a couple of those coming up this year. They're about 3 or 4 a year, which is nice. I'm old, so I don't work as much as I used to, but
You're
I'm
not
still
old.
here,
You're not old.
Oh yeah, I've been doing it a long time.
Don't say that. I'm older than you by about 15
I'm
years.
just happy to be working still, getting a call every now and then. It makes me happy.
Well, what kind of driving is needed on an auto show?
Most of the time it's very precise driving. You don't have really, you drive a car on stage when they're introducing a new car. But some of your margins, or you have no margins, you'll either go off the stage or miss the turntable. Or one time I was driving up a ramp as it was moving up to about 15 feet and with no clearance on the edge. So that was a tricky one. They're more tricky than dangerous, but they can be,
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's a whole different world, but it came out of stunt driving, which I really enjoy all of it, all the different aspects of it. Yeah.
Well, tell me about Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Oh, I worked on, I think on 1 or 2 of those. God, that was so long ago. I think it was just a fight scene. I probably was fighting when the vampires were coming in. I can't even remember. That's how bad it was.
Well,
But it was fun. I know it was a fun job. Yeah. That was only I think one episode that I worked on. Yeah. That was a while ago. Yeah, I used to double the lead on Monk. I used to double her, Taylor. That was a fun show to work on for Charlie Brewer. That was a good one. Yeah.
what was fun about that?
You know, just the different, it was nice. It's nice to double a lead on a show because you get called in just to do different stuff. I think I was hanging out of a dump truck one time, or, swimming in the ocean another time. Fight scenes, a lot of fight scenes in that one. So all different things. It's nice to be on a show for a long time. Yeah, and you get to know the crew, the people. It's good.
And what do you do to stay in shape, Robin?
Ooh, I'm pretty active. I can't say I go to a gym except for yoga, but I'm biking, hiking, running, swimming. I'm always on my bike. Mostly running, swimming, surfing, hiking, and yoga. So I do a little bit of that. I like to do a couple hours a day. I like to be outside. So anything outside, I'm
Sure.
usually playing with. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Now, what do you consider your greatest accomplishments?
Making a living in this business. It's hard to do.
Yeah.
Probably that's what I set out to do, is just make a living in this business. So I've been doing it for 36 years, a long time.
Yeah.
And it's been I still love it. I'm still on the set. I'm not in my room when I'm on a job. I'm out there watching people. There's something about being on a set. It feels like home to me. I live part-time in Hawaii also, and I produce videos for a visitor channel over there. And it's very, very fun. And it's no stunts. I'm behind the camera organizing it all. But to me, it's fun. Any part of creating this thing and collaborating with people and, having an idea and making it come to life, it's really, satisfying and creative and fun and an accomplishment. So whether it's doing stunts or producing, it's very fun. I think it's fun and I get paid for it. So
That's wonderful. Now,
yeah.
how is it that you moved into production?
I actually started in production that whole year. I was working for free and then I started in production, started as a PA and then did coordinating, production coordinating and location scouting. So I started out as that before I figured out what my, area in the film business was. So sort of went full circle a little bit back. It's not a big production over on Hawaii. Hawaii is a really tiny island, but it's a good little channel. And we have a director and a cameraman that I work with and some talent. So it's very fun also. Yeah.
Great. Now,
Yeah.
how about challenges?
Challenges. Well, you have to, in order to be a stunt person, you have to sell yourself. You have to hustle, especially in the beginning. You have to go out and sell yourself. And I'm not really one that likes to talk about myself. This is difficult for me to do this interview, but you have to go out there and you have to get the work yourself. No one really gets it for you. And so selling yourself is big. The challenge is, I've always been freelance. So that for me is just a way of life. I think that would be challenging for other people. It's just always, knock on wood again, worked out for me. Yeah, it's been, you get dinged up a lot. I got a lot of dings on me from this job. So you got to be okay with getting hurt every now and then. I think that's just part of the job. And most of some people know it. And I guess those would be the biggest challenges. Yeah.
Where do you hope to be in the next 5 years?
Wow. I never planned that far ahead. I don't know. Alive, active, possibly getting a lot of old lady roles that fall down. Maybe I'd like to still be doing stunts in some aspect. And, I'm starting a website called Silver Stunts, which is about all stunt people over 55, if you need one, look us up. And so hoping to still be going, working in this business. I love it. I always say, people ask, are you retired? I'm like, no, some people never really retire. They just stop getting called. We still like to work. It's fun. It's really fun when you work with the right people. I think I'm more discerning who I work for and who I don't work for at this point in my life and my career. It's a luxury. So I still love it. Yeah. Yeah.
How does age affect stunt driving?
It's a very age-oriented business. And I knew that going into it, so I'm not bitter about it or sad about it. It's just it's an age-oriented business. Some of the people that I started with aren't working anymore. They've retired or moved on to other stuff, or, they don't do the same job anymore. So everybody levels up or goes on to something else. So, a lot of the people you work with don't work anymore. So you don't get as many calls and you still have to hustle and get a job. But it's just a very, it's the film business. I think any job in the film business is very age oriented. New people come up, hire their own people, and older people have their place. We still get work and stuff, but
Mhm.
it's just the business, in every single job, not just ours.
Sure.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about your heritage and your family?
My heritage, yeah, I'm half part Italian, part Russian, part Danish. And nobody in my family was in this business. They're doing their own thing. I grew up in the burbs of California in the 70s, so I didn't really know anything about this business. I was always very, very physical though. So um always doing sports. But they've come to accept my job. I don't think when I work, I don't really tell my mom the dangerous ones until after I've finished them and survived them, and then I'll tell her about them, tell the family about them. But yeah, it's my brother races cars, so he's in the driving business also. He's raced cars. My dad was always into cars. There was always cars around our house, so I think that's how I became comfortable driving. Was always around him. I think I stole my brother's car when I was a teenager. He might not know that, but he might now. So, yeah, I think that's one of the reasons. We always had motorcycles around growing up and lots of kids and sports and stuff.
Yeah,
So, yeah,
great. That's great.
yeah.
And what did your dad do for a living?
He was in electronics. So he did electronics in businesses and sometimes for the Navy. And then he always had a car. He would race oh, what's it called? The races they do locally. He would race in those, but always building a car, into cars and classic cars and everything. And same with my brother. So, people send pictures of their kids to people. We send pictures of cars to each other, you know, always works like that.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, what have I missed, Robin? Anything
Uh,
you'd like to mention or pitch?
Um, Shoots, I don't have anything to pitch, it was nice talking to you. And I'd like to find out about you. How'd you get into this doing interviews with people? Let's turn it around here.
You're the first person that's ever done that.
Really?
But I'd be happy to tell you what's
Okay.
happening. A number of years ago, I had a radio talk show in Chicago,
Okay.
and the subject matter was teenagers that were in trouble with the law.
Okay.
I did that for about a year,
Mm-hmm.
but I've really had a varied life. I was in the military during the Vietnam conflict, but I was in Germany,
Wow.
in Vietnam,
Wow.
and
Thank you for serving. Yeah.
I was a military policeman. I don't feel like I should be thanked for serving. I really don't. I mean,
Okay.
it was a fluke that I even got to Germany. I enlisted as a military policeman, fully thinking that I was going to go to Vietnam.
Wow.
And all of a sudden, I got put on a levee and I was sent to Germany.
Wow.
But I'll be honest with you, it was a vacation. I traveled all over Europe.
Wow.
I won't tell you some of the deals that I promoted, but I'm supposed to have 30 days per year and leave. I was there for 3 years and I had almost 200 days of leave time.
Wow.
And we won't go into the details of that.
Okay. That's a whole other show.
Yeah.
Well, good for you.
I spent a lot of time over there. And I've had my own restaurant.
Okay.
And in about 9 years ago, I came to Mexico
Hmm.
and I decided to retire. I was 69 years old
Wow.
and I wrote and published 3 novels.
Good for you. Where are you in Mexico right now?
And Escondido
Escondido or
and
Ensenada?
Ensenada.
Ensenada. Okay. Yeah, it's not far from here.
Where are you?
I'm in San Diego.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty close. Yeah.
I'm getting ready to drive up to Chula Vista
Okay.
for an annual physical.
Okay.
Family reunion up north.
Oh, good. Up north.
Yeah, up north in California.
Yeah. Good. Good. And how'd you start interviewing all of us stunt people or film people?
Well, I decided that I wanted to start a podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always been fairly decent at interviewing people.
Mm-hmm.
So at first I thought, well, I'm going to interview top name actors.
Oh.
Well, that didn't work out very well.
Not yet. There's still time.
Not at all. Not at all. I love the stunt people. I've got 27 interviews
Wow.
that I've done in about 9 months,
Oh, wow.
all with stunt people. But they're good people. They have their own community, as you've mentioned.
They are good people. They
And
really are good people.
basically, they're not really attached to the top name stars. But that's good, because you hear about the travails of top name stars all the time,
Mm-hmm.
but you don't hear about the back of the house people
Yeah.
consider you.
Yeah, that's how we like it, most of us.
That's good though. That's good.
Yeah.
It's a good
Yeah.
life. It's a good, and I've met some wonderful people, wonderful
Ah,
people, very talented people in what they do.
yeah. It's a good job. I'm very
Uh,
lucky to have this job. Yes.
It is, it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
Will you join us again in the future to share any updates in your career?
Sure. Hopefully I'll have some new stuff.
Oh, that's great. That's great to know.
Yeah.
I'll be in touch.
All right. Thank you so much for talking to me, and yeah.
Oh, be well, Robin, and
All right, you too. Thank
thank you
you.
for the interesting conversation.
Thank you, Larry. Have a good day.
Bye.
Bye.
And you will be happy too.